And my only guest of the evening at this time, on the first day of December, is an indie pro wrestler out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Shawn Phoenix is joining me right now. Good evening, Shawn.
How's it going?
I'm doing so much better now that I finally got this show up and running. My apologies for the technical difficulties.
No worries. Technology works when it wants to.
That is true. Technology does have its flaws, regardless of where you go, where you at, where you been. Something like this is bound to happen. It's just how you react and how you move forward. And I'm glad to have you on. This is this live show's turned very, very short, so I'm pretty much gonna have you on for a little over 10 minutes or so. And I know you're fighting the weather right now, other than body slamming people, but I appreciate you being a trooper and still want to do this interview, given your health at the moment. But let's just.
Of course, man. Yeah. Thanks for having me. I mean, you don't got to make it sound like I'm fighting. I'm knocking on death's door. It's just a little, something I'm coming over. I think it's the weather change, but I pretty much beat the sickness. It's just still kind of hanging around, like that guest that never wants to leave that party. It's like, all right, time for you to go now. I'm over this.
So let's go ahead and begin. What got you started into becoming a wrestler?
See, my story is a bit different. You see, I was never allowed to watch wrestling growing up. My parents were both paramedics, and me being the oldest of four, they were always a little bit cautious of what we did, because we were always adventurous and stuff. And they were always worried that by us watching wrestling, we'd be doing moves on each other and putting people in the hospital, which it kind of bummed me out a bit because that's the 90s, so I completely missed the Attitude Era. I mean, I remember in second grade, everyone had a full Steve Austin T-shirt, Generation X shirt, and everyone was talking about it, and I couldn't really, engage in the conversation. I really missed out. But then one day we were flipping through channels, and I guess we had some sort of like cheater box or something like that, because I remember we got like 2 pay-per-view channels, and we're flipping through the channels, and we stumble across Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Kurt Angle from 2001. And at this point, I was a little bit older. I was probably about 10 years old, and we knew Kurt Angle from Pittsburgh, and we pretty much begged our parents to let us watch this, please, please, please. Kurt Angle, he's a hometown guy. We had to promise our parents that we would do moves or wrestle, and I think it's safe to say we pretty much broke that promise within about 2 weeks because I was hooked, and I feel like you deprive someone of something like that for so long, they're going to want to take it in as much as they can, and I was hooked, from that point on. And growing up as a child, I was always an athletic kid, playing baseball, soccer, skateboarding, stuff like that. I always wanted to do something with my life, sports related, and have dreams of being a superstar, whatever that means. So it was at that moment I was like, I want to be a wrestler. I never knew how to actually do it, so I ended up finding a local independent company, and that's when I realized, like, these are guys just like, these guys aren't huge, these are just regular guys, and they can do it. And I've been hooked ever since.
Talk about being a rebel with a cause. It feels like you already knew, like, this is what you wanted to do, and sometimes you gotta do things out of the ordinary, and that pretty much means disobeying the parents.
Right.
So you got a glimpse of what you want to do, and sometimes you gotta, get into that persona per se. You gotta bend the rule. You gotta do whatever it takes to get what you want, even if it means not necessarily listening to your parents.
Right.
We have all had that time every now and then when parents tell us don't do something, and then you end up doing it anyway, and either they're gonna be happy that maybe the West paid off, or they're gonna ground you, no
Right,
TV,
right.
or things like that. But hey, you went for your dream, and here you are. This is what you're doing. Um,
Right, absolutely. And to be fair, I never put my brothers in a hospital or sent them to the doctors or anything like that. We did end up wrestling like on a trampoline and stuff like that, doing moves into the swimming pool and stuff like that. So at least I have that, like where I can, honestly say I kept to my promise in that aspect where I didn't hurt my siblings, and that was the one thing they were worried about. But it does, like, it's funny, like, to feel like, yeah, I broke a promise. My parents support it now. They don't really like wrestling. They'll come out to shows every now and then, but they support it, and I'm so thankful that people don't. But I mean, it would be nice to come to every show. You gotta pick your battle.
that is true. That is true. Now I got to ask you about a particular post that you made on Facebook. November 30th at 4:14 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's just say you're getting ready for next year on this particular post.
Yeah.
Goals for 2017. And I'm gonna go through the list. Bring Oreos back to stores.
Oreo O's. Oreos aren't sore, but Oreo O's
Oreos.
were
Okay.
are something I'm very curious about. It was a cereal, if you don't know,
Yeah.
in the 90s, early 2000s, and I loved them. And they brought Surge back. They brought back Ecto Cooler. I'm still waiting on them to bring back Oreo O's. But I'm sorry, you can continue.
Oreos. Okay, I got you. Wrestle on TV.
Hmm.
That's definitely a good goal. No injuries.
Absolutely.
That's definitely something that any wrestler and athlete would want. Is make everyone happy. That's
Hmm.
definitely gonna be the challenging one, but
Indeed. I'm
yeah,
learning that you can't, I've always been that guy trying to make everyone happy.
yeah,
And I'm learning that can't make everyone happy, fans, wrestlers, promoters. But, as long as I try, then at least I have that.
that's true. The next one, make so much money I can buy my mom a house.
she she holds it over my head to this day that when I was a young child playing baseball, that I promised her that I would buy her a house whenever I was famous. Now, do I realistically think that that's going to happen in the immediate future? Not really. But, I mean, I'm still going to shoot for it.
Yeah, that's definitely a way to go, and I feel like for a lot of fellas out there in any form of entertainment, when you make it, when you get that first break, and when you get that first bit paycheck, that's definitely gonna be something popping in your mind. Considering we're talking about moms here, we're talking about
Oh, absolutely.
who brought you into this world, who can put you right out, and you know,
Right, right. And it's no secret that my mom is my best friend. I don't say I got a lot of tattoos. I've got a good bit of tattoos. My most recent one was on my forearm. It's a classic heart with a banner on it that says "Mom." She's my best friend. She's my rock. I couldn't do anything that I do without her. So I definitely owe her a lot, especially her not ripping my head off for me breaking that promise. But yeah, I owe her a lot.
The next one, make more friends. Well, you're off to an early start in that regard, 'cause you got a new friend in me.
I appreciate that, brother.
So, you're off to a real good head start in that regard. And the
I
last
appreciate that.
goal is have fun, and that's something that pretty much everyone wants to have. In your case, being fun, having fun, doing what you love to do, and that's to perform and entertain, and that's something obviously that you enjoy doing, and
Absolutely.
the fire torch and the phone picture, that's badass. I
I
would say
appreciate that.
that's something that I don't see out here in my neck of the woods of Kentucky. I don't know if people are scared. I don't know if there's a law in the boxing and wrestling authority here. I don't know, but obviously here in your neck of the woods in Pennsylvania, there and the areas outside of Pennsylvania allows you to blow fire out of your mouth.
Well, let's get ourselves here.
Yeah.
I didn't really do any research on this.
Oh, okay.
I do that in my entrance.
Okay.
I talk to the promoters, the bookers, or whoever's renting the building to see if I'm allowed to. If they don't have a problem with it, I go ahead and breathe fire. But there are times when I can't do it, so I am respectful. But I don't know if it's completely legal. I haven't had anyone yell at me, so it's easier to ask for forgiveness than it is permission.
That is true. Absolutely true. So I hear you got some shows coming up in the last month of the year. Having
hmm
said all that, why don't you go ahead and promote them, and where can they catch Shawn Phoenix in action?
Well, tomorrow I'm headed to Toledo, Ohio for NOW. It'll be my second time out there. I believe it's for Uprising 4. Pretty excited about that. First time I went out there was last month, and I had a blast, so I'm stoked for that. I actually still have to pack for that, so thanks for reminding me. Then Saturday I have PWX in Pittsburgh, or McKeesport, Pennsylvania. That is my home company. We have a show every 2 weeks. And then December 10th, I guess I'll drop the bombshell now. I'm headed down to Tennessee for it's so hard to remember all these without looking at it. For IWA something. It's not Mid-South. IWA something. I'm headed down there. December 9th, I'm working for PWX Rise. We're splitting up. We're kind of having a second company. That'll be in Collinsville. You put me on the spot here. I should have been more prepared. I apologize for that. But if anyone wants to see where I'm going to be, where I'm headed, please send me a friend request on Facebook. I post all my stuff on there. Follow me on Instagram and all that. It sounds corny, but I'm always on my phone, always on social media. Love talking to fans. And one of the things that I love about wrestling is whenever I meet someone befriends me on the internet, and then they say, hey, I know you from Reddit. I know you from this message board. That's such a cool feeling. To know that they remembered me from the message board, and the technology is that far in advance. So I always get a kick out of that. That's a real mind-blowing experience.
Awesome.
So those are the ones that I could think of off the top of my head right now.
Well, in the meantime, they can check you out on Facebook under Shawn Phoenix, and on Twitter, the Twitter handle is X Shawn X Phoenix, as in Malcolm X.
Yes, and that's my handle for everything. For Instagram, for Snapchat, for Twitter, for AOL Instant Messenger, if we want to go old school. Keep it simple. So.
Cool. Well, it was great chatting with you, Shawn. Sorry we could have made this a little bit longer, but we'll definitely do part 2.
Absolutely.
Let's say January.
All right, that works for me. Keep it open.
Yeah, so thank you again for your time. And
Thank you so much for having me, dude.
Absolutely, and you have a good night. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, and if I don't talk to you before then, happy holidays.
Absolutely. Happy holidays to you too, man.
Take care.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
That was Shawn Phoenix out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.